Good morning, I'm Carol Costello. It's 32 minutes past the hour. The Attorney General may find a lot of empty seats when he sits down with the top news organizations. Eric Holder plans to talk about guidelines for investigations involving leaks to the media. But what's said in those meetings is supposed to be off the record. CNN, along with the New York Times, the Associated Press, and the Huffington Post, say they will not take part unless they can tell you about the meeting, unless we can report it. The meeting comes as House Republicans say they have problems with what Holder told them about investigating journalists at a hearing earlier this month, and they want answers, as this scandal shows no sign of slowing down. Jim Acosta has more for you.
At a hearing on the recent revelation that the Justice Department had seized the phone records of Associated Press reporters, Attorney General Eric Holder was asked a crucial hypothetical question: whether journalists could be prosecuted for espionage. Holder gave this response under oath.
With regard to the potential prosecution of the press for the disclosure of material, that is not something that I've ever been involved in, heard of, or would think would be a wise policy. In fact,
but roughly 1 week after that testimony, the Justice Department acknowledged Holder was involved in the decision to seek a search warrant for the private emails of Fox News reporter James Rosen. An FBI affidavit used to obtain the warrant for Rosen's emails described him as a potential aider and abettor and/or co-conspirator in disclosing government secrets in a 2009 news story. Republicans on the House Judiciary Committee are now conducting an investigation into the Attorney General's testimony, firing off this letter to Holder asking for clarification, saying the Rosen case appears to be at odds with your sworn testimony.
The testimony that he gave did not limit itself to a prosecution of a reporter. It was broader than that, and therefore it seems to be contradicted by the facts.
But White House Press Secretary Jay Carney argued Rosen wasn't the one being prosecuted. Is it the administration's opinion that the Attorney General testified truthfully at that hearing?
I think based on what you said, he testified truthfully. I think every published report, I think the Attorney General talked about prosecution, extremely large distinction between what's at issue here and prosecution.
There are legitimate questions about the truth of Holder's testimony.
But constitutional law professor Jonathan Turley, a fierce critic of the Bush administration and Obama voter, says Holder should resign in an op-ed in USA Today.
What Eric Holder did is he crossed a line, a very important one. He endangered a free press. If Eric Holder were a rational actor, he would resign. He's damaged goods. I'm not too sure why he'd want to keep limping along. But if he refuses to go, he needs to be fired.
Earlier this month, President Obama offered Holder his full support.
I have complete confidence in Eric Holder as Attorney General.
That hasn't changed. Does he still have confidence in this Attorney General?
He absolutely does, yes.
That was Jim Acosta reporting. So the question here, can Eric Holder survive this? There are a lot of Republicans who believe the Attorney General should have been fired a long time ago. So does constitutional law professor Jonathan Turley of George Washington University. You heard him in that story. And dare I say, Jonathan, you're a liberal.
Well, you know, it's not the first time civil libertarians have found strange bedfellows in controversies. But this is not the first such complaint against Eric Holder. He has led a Justice Department that's rolled back on a number of civil liberties. But he really did cross the Rubicon here. I mean, it's difficult to overstate how dangerous this type of investigation is to our system. You know, he is the chief legal officer of the United States. He takes an oath to protect the Constitution. But here, he's the threat to the Constitution. He did a direct assault on the free press, which is critically important to the protection of liberty. That's why the framers put it in the First Amendment.
So President Obama is a constitutional lawyer, right? Why does he stand so strongly by Eric Holder?
Quite frankly, it's because these are really his sins as well. I mean, what Eric Holder did is part of years of efforts to pressure reporters, investigate reporters. President Obama was aware of that. I mean, this has been very public, as you know. This administration has been extremely aggressive in pursuing whistleblowers and reporters in investigation. And this distinction that they weren't actually going to prosecute people like Rosen is really fallacious. I mean, it's ridiculous. You know, the threat to the free press is that you were seizing confidential records. For a long time in this country, the government has maintained a very bright line. It has pursued leakers and whistleblowers, but not the reporters. And what they did here is to create this enormous chilling effect. And what people need to remember is the greatest protection of liberty in our history has not been Congress. It has not even been the courts. It's been the free press. They're the ones that often reveal scandals and pressure public officials to account for themselves.
So I think many people were surprised, too, that Eric Holder didn't step down after the first term, because a lot of the president's cabinet members stepped down, right? It's sort of unusual that he stayed anyway.
He has, and I'm not too sure why. You know, as you know, most second terms do seem to attract scandals. I'm not too sure why. But Holder has always been controversial. You know, he was opposed in his confirmation as having a political record during the Clinton administration, a controversial one. But he's proven one of the most loyal aides to the president. And he's given the president cover. So on things like Obama's, you know, policy, that the so-called kill list policy that allows the killing of citizens, warrantless surveillance, other controversial programs, it's been Holder that has taken the hit. He's what they used to call in Europe a sin eater. You know, these are people that would take your sins away for a price. Holder's the ultimate sin eater in the Beltway. He protects the president, and he has a very important use in that sense.
Interesting. Jonathan Turley, many thanks to you. Jonathan Turley, constitutional law professor at George Washington University.
Thank you, Carol.
You're welcome.